Hi everyone, this is Sugantha Priya, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Dr. SNS Rajalakshmi College of Arts and Science. This lecture series is about the topic inheritance. Inheritance. Inheritance is a mechanism of driving a new class from an existing class. The existing old class is known as base class or superclass or parent class. The new class is known as a derived class or a subclass or a child class. It allows us to use the properties and behavior of one class, that is a parent class, in another class called as a child class. Java inheritance is one of the important pillar of the object-oriented programming. A class whose properties are inherited is known as parent class, and the class that inherits the properties of the parent class is known as child class. Thus, it establishes a relationship between the parent and the child class that is known as parent-child or an is-a relationship. Suppose if there are two more classes named father and child, now we want to inherit the properties of the father and the father class in the child class. We can achieve this by using the extends keyword. Here we have a parent class. The parent class has several properties and the behavior. The properties and the behavior are specific to a particular parent. These properties can be inherited to the child class. That is, the properties can be inherited, the inherited behavior and properties and the behavior specific to the parent, and also the child class has its own properties. Types of inheritance. Java supports the following four types of inheritance, that is single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance and hybrid inheritance. Single inheritance. In single inheritance, a subclass is derived from only one superclass. It inherits the properties and behavior of the single parent. Sometimes it is known as simple inheritance. Next is the multi-level inheritance. In the multi-level inheritance, a class is derived from a class which is also derived from another class called as multi-level inheritance. In simple words, we can say that a class has more than one parent class is called as multi-level inheritance. Note that the classes must have different levels. Hence, there is an existing single base class and the single derived class, but multiple intermediate base classes. In multi-level inheritance, a derived class will be inheriting a base class, as well as a derived class also acts as a base class for other classes. A class A serves as a base class for the derived class B, which in turn serves as a base class for the derived class C. In Java, a class cannot directly access the grandparents' members. Here, a student is a superclass, so which is inherited by the marks, that is called as a subclass or an intermediate base class. Again, that is inherited by the sports class. The sports class is called as an derived class. Next is the hierarchical inheritance. In the hierarchical inheritance, one class serves as a superclass, that is called as a base class, for more than one subclass. If a number of classes are derived from a single base class, and it is also called as hierarchical inheritance. Here, the student class is called as a superclass. The science, commerce and arts are called as the subclasses, so which inherits the properties from the student class. Next is an example for an hybrid inheritance. Hybrid means more than one. Hybrid inheritance is a combination of more than one type of inheritance. In the above figure, the grandfather is a superclass. The father inherits the properties of the grandparents class. Since the father and the grandparent represents a single inheritance, further the father class is inherited by the son and the daughter classes. Thus, the father becomes a parent class for the son and the daughter. These classes represents the hierarchical inheritance. Combinedly denotes the hybrid inheritance. It is a mix of two or more of the above types of inheritance. Since Java doesn't support multiple inheritance with the classes, hybrid inheritance involving multiple inheritance is also not possible within the classes. In Java, we can achieve hybrid inheritance only through interfaces. If we want to involve multiple inheritance to implement the hybrid inheritance. However, it is important to note that Hybrid inheritance does not necessarily require the use of multiple inheritance exclusively. It can be achieved through a combination of multi-level inheritance and hierarchical inheritance within the classes. Hierarchical and single inheritance within classes. Therefore, it is intended to implement hybrid inheritance using class alone without relying on the multiple inheritance type. Thank you.